that aren't necessarily in your best interest as a person. They're in the best interests of the success of your business and of their return. Angels were always seen as the opposite side of that equation. It was basically a bunch of eccentric people who had lots of money who liked to throw money at businesses to help them. And maybe they got rich. In the last few years, there's been an acceleration of people who call themselves angels but aren't, right? They're, this one person who's maybe a little well-known who's actually raising money in some way on the back end from outside limited partners of one kind or another. And there's a bunch of different versions of this. There's, angelless syndicates. There's these things called special purpose vehicles, a bunch of read the essay I wrote to learn a little bit more about this. And the point here is that none of these things are in and of themselves bad. It's good that there are more people with money to put into startups. What's bad is that a lot of these angels are not disclosing where their money comes from. And that is pretty shitty, right? That's not something that you should do. You shouldn't be lying to a founder with whom you are starting a relationship about what you actually are and where your money comes from. And founders sometimes only see this if they notice that the name on the docs, the legal entity that is investing, is something weird.
Right. And like to put a fine point on it, the issue is you don't know what their incentives are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just don't know what their incentives are. And if you don't know their incentives, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And there's a more recent version of this that I'm seeing more and more of, is just people who are representing themselves as a single name, but are full VC firms underneath, institutional LPs, $50, $75 million. And, listen, there's a lot of venture capital firms that have people's names on them.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
Andreessen Horowitz, Kleiner Perkins, those have people's names on them, whether or not those original partners are still there. But they were honest from the beginning. We are a venture capital firm. And I think that's honest. But if give yourself a name, if I went out there as Aaron Harris, independent angel investor, and I really had $150 million behind me, that's weird.